Should I break up with my girlfriend for sending her nudes to my brother? Disclaimer is not my story time. I sent them on Instagram. I'm a 25-year-old guy and my brother is 23. We have always had a really good relationship. We're really close. We play sports together. We just spend a lot of time together in general. My girlfriend and I have only known each other for a year. We started dating 2 months later, so we've been together for about 7 to 8 months. To be honest, I don't exactly know how long. Am I the perfect man? No. Are we the perfect couple? No. But you know what? I put a lot of effort into our relationship. For example, she gets really bad mood swings when she has her period. So I always make the effort to go buy her groceries. I fill up her car with gas. And on her first day of her period, I always go over to her apartment and make her a nice meal. And I always buy her favorite vegan cupcakes from Whole Foods. Sure, I always forget about our anniversary and stuff like that, but it's the big things that count, you know? So my girlfriend always jokes about how cute my brother is. I mean, is it really cute? I don't know. He's just my brother. She'll go out of her way to make comments about him. Now, I'm not a jealous guy, so I never really say anything. She did make a comment in front of my brother and it made him uncomfortable. So afterwards, I asked her not to say those things in front of my brother. And if you must know, go to part 2 to see what she said about my brother. I break up with my girlfriend for sending her nudes to my brother. Disclaimer isn't on my story time. I said on Instagram. While we're sitting at dinner with my parents, she says, "Your brother is hot AF." My brother looks up from his dinner plate and just stares at me. My mom laughed awkwardly, and my dad literally didn't know what she was talking about. I could see how uncomfortable it made my brother. So after the dinner, I asked my girlfriend to not make any comments about how good looking my brother is. But then her weird obsession with my brother just got worse. He and I are both really into fitness and usually go to the gym together. And she started coming to the gym with us. Except she would follow my brother around like a lost puppy at the gym. Again, my brother would just turn to look at me and be like, "Can you come grab her?" So I physically had to pull her away from my brother. After a couple of times of us going to the gym and this happening, I sat her down and told her that she really needed to stop this time. Honestly, at this point, I found it kind of funny. My girlfriend's also really funny, so she makes everything into a joke. So honestly, I didn't assume anything terrible about it. Not until a few weeks ago when everything went down. Brother started dating a new girl. He showed my girlfriend a picture of her. My girlfriend immediately started judging her by her looks. She pretty much said she was ugly and that she had really bad skin. And that my brother could do a lot better. Part 3 is should I break up with my girlfriend for sending her nudes to my brother? Disclaimer is not my story time. I sent them on Instagram. After my girlfriend started ripping into my brother's new girlfriend, I put my foot down and told her that she needed to stop immediately. My brother was clearly uncomfortable, and still she thought it was all a funny joke. As I drove her home, I asked her why she had to do that. She went on a rant about how hot my brother was and how ugly his new girlfriend was. And again, she started criticizing everything about her physically. Said her hair was dry, that she had too many pimples, that she was shaped like a little boy. That's when I told her that she didn't need to say everything she thought. As I dropped her off at her place, I decided to go to the gym. 5 seconds after stepping into the gym, my brother sends me a screenshot of 2 nudes my girlfriend sent him. Call my brother and he says, "Dude, WTF." Then I call my girlfriend and she says, "What's up?" Enter the screenshot and she said, "Oh my god, I must have sent that by mistake. I'm so sorry." And I said, "Why would you send that by mistake?" She came up with this whole story about how she was actually trying to send them to me. And she sent me a screenshot of her messages. And she said that she probably just clicked on his by mistake. I don't believe it. I basically ghosted her for an entire week. My brother's still pretty pissed off. She's begging me to come back to her, but I don't know what to do. Could she be telling the truth? Story time about how my husband left me for my twin brother. I, female, 25, have been married to my husband for 6 months. When we started dating, it was just casual. I never thought I would marry this man, but it happened. We had a pregnancy scare, and that's when he told me that if I was pregnant, that he would marry me. We took a few pregnancy tests, and most of them came out positive. So we were convinced we were having a kid together. Of course, he asked me to marry him, and not until 3 months later did we decide to go to the doctor. And as soon as we got to the doctor, they said, "You're not pregnant." We couldn't believe it, but nonetheless, we were still married. He and I weren't exactly soulmates. When we started dating, we had a lot of fun together, but my friends would always make comments about him possibly being gay. I never took him seriously because he was interested in me, a woman. Sometimes my male friends would say, "Oh, he stares at me a lot," or that he would ask them to go out for drinks by themselves. I thought he was just trying to be nice and getting to know my friends. Obviously, I was wrong. My twin brother and I don't have a really close relationship. We had a falling out when he found out that I was pregnant. He thought I was ruining my life by having a kid, but it turns out I wasn't pregnant. So we started getting close again. He would come over to our house and spend a lot of time with my husband and I. But then I realized that they were doing naughty things together. Follow for part 2. Story time about how my husband left me for my twin brother. I would come home and find my twin brother on the couch with my husband. Of course, I just thought they were trying to get to know each other. I mean, we just got married and all. Got to the point where my brother was coming over to my place every single day. And my husband and him would hang out all day together. My husband works from home, so he's always there. I own my own business, so I'm usually not home before 3 p.m. Every time I would come home, my twin brother was already there. Actually, I told my twin brother he needed to give me and my new husband our privacy. That's when he said that I was overreacting and that he was just trying to get to know him. Then he said, "Are you jealous?" I looked him straight in the face and I said, "Why should I be jealous? You're my twin brother." Then he laughed, got up, and left my house. And just like that, I knew something was going on. In part 1, I told you guys about those friends that warned me about my husband being gay. I decided to call on my friends and ask them to tell me why they thought my husband might be gay. They gave me lists. And I started writing everything down, and everything started connecting. I'd come to the realization that I married a gay man and that he was possibly having an affair with my twin brother. I mean, could things get worse? I decided to confront confront my husband. What he told me literally shocked me. Part 3 is up. Story time about how my husband left me for my twin brother. I confronted my husband. He told me that my brother essentially had been following him around and wouldn't leave him alone. In other words, he was putting all the blame on my brother. But instead of believing him right away, I grilled him. Started asking him questions about his past, like why he had never had a relationship before me with another woman, why all of my friends, literally all of them, thought he was gay. Of course, he denied everything, so I got on the phone and called my brother. I asked him to come over really quick, and he did. And of course, I started interrogating him too. That's when I told my husband to repeat what he had told me. But he couldn't. He looked at my brother and said, "Sorry, I told her the truth." My brother said, "Which is?" And my husband says, "You won't leave me alone and that you've been harassing me." That's when my brother tried to swing at him. Then my brother spilled all the beans. He said that on my wedding night, my husband and him made out. And that after that, my brother would come to our house after I left every single morning to be with my husband and to do all the nasty things they wanted to do to each other. My brother told me that the one who started it was my husband. I looked at my husband and he couldn't deny anything. I divorced him the next day. My now ex is trying to convince my brother to be in a relationship with him, but he doesn't want to. And my dad is hunting my ex down. Bye.
Am I the asshole for not letting my daughter go to freshman prom? Disclaimer, this is not my story. I, 37 female, and my husband, 37 male, have 3 kids, 14 male, 14 female, and 12 male. A few days ago, I got home from a dinner for work and saw that a vase in the kitchen was on the floor in pieces. It was a very expensive vase. While we can afford a new one, I was still very upset about it. I saw my twin sitting on the couch and asked what happened. My daughter tells me that our 12-year-old was playing with one of his baseballs and broke it. My youngest loves sports and has collectibles, but I was immediately suspicious because he takes very good care of them and wouldn't throw a baseball like that. Even with his modern baseballs he uses for sports, I've never seen him throw one in the house. My 12-year-old isn't a great liar. When I asked him, he said he did it and it seemed like he was lying. Then I noticed he had chocolate on his shirt and it was obvious that they tried to bribe him with chocolate. My daughter's boyfriend works at a chocolatier and gets some free chocolate. I then asked both the twins what happened, but separately. Am I the asshole for not letting my daughter go to freshman prom? Disclaimer, this is not my story. I took my son into our bedroom where he immediately admitted that him and his sister were playing with one of their brother's antique baseballs and broke the vase. I was disappointed, but I was glad he was honest. My daughter insisted that it was their younger brother and she refused to acknowledge what she did. I decided that losing their phone would be the punishment. My daughter refused to give her phone and still insisted that it was her younger brother. I then talked to my youngest and he admitted that she bribed him with chocolate. After that, my daughter went silent and refused to give me the phone when I asked. I then told her she would not be allowed to go to freshman prom for lying to me and refusing to hand over her phone. My husband said I was being too harsh and should let her go, but I'm still not on board with letting her go. He's a more permissive parent and we've talked about how the kids know he's easier to manipulate, but he said he thinks this punishment is unfair. I love him, but I disagree. I don't want my daughter to think she can get away with lying. Am I an asshole for telling my wife to find a new office? Disclaimer, this is not my story. My 35 male wife, 32 female, works from home. Because her job is demanding and she works across several time zones, she generally works from 4 a.m. to 4 p.m. and sometimes on weekends. Technically, she's working for 3 different companies all in the same industry, but she earns quite a lot doing it, so it's not all that bad. I work from 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. during my week. We don't have the same off days. She works a normal week while I have Monday and Tuesday as my weekend. We do chores on the weekend. She usually spends hers cleaning the inside while I do chores on the outside of the house. I do things like cleaning the gutters, mowing the lawn, and more. Sometimes things would be a lot easier if I had some help. The outside chores are a lot more labor intensive, so I ask her for help on the weekends. She doesn't like when I do this, and it's not like I'm asking for a lot. It will literally take 2 seconds for her to come help me. I know it bothers her, but her schedule is flexible while mine isn't. Am I the asshole for telling my wife to find a new office? Disclaimer, this is not my story. Today I was working on my motorcycle in the shop and I needed help lifting it onto the stand so I could work on it. I could have done it myself, but it would have been a lot easier if she came to help me. So I texted her to come help me, but she didn't answer. I walked inside and called for her from downstairs to come help me when she screamed I'm in a meeting, then slammed the door. After about an hour, I went upstairs to confront her. I said I was sorry for interrupting her meeting, but her reaction was uncalled for, and that it was weird and suspicious that she would slam her office door. She told me she was tired of always being bothered while she was trying to work. I would understand, but her schedule is flexible and most of her projects are computer-based. She said if I were in an office, then you wouldn't have me around to help anyway. So I told her if she wanted to work like she was in an office, then she needed to go find an office. Today I woke up to the sound of her car leaving the driveway. I called and asked her where she was going and she said the office and hung up. She ended up working all day in a coffee shop.